Hello and good afternoon, everybody. Thank you again for joining us. My name is Amanda Schaefer. I'm here to introduce Heather. We're really excited to introduce our host today. Heather brings more than 30 years of experience across educational media, professional skills training, and public relations. She's been part of the graduate school since 2008, where she serves as a program manager for the Executive Leadership Program and teaches and develops courses here at the Center of Leadership and Management. Her career path is incredibly interesting. She actually began teaching at a high school in Western Kenya, and after returning to the U.S., she earned her master's degree in journalism. From there, she built a dual career as both a television and radio journalist and an educator, teaching writing, politics, and journalism at both the high school and university levels. In the early 2000s, Heather stepped away from broadcasting to serve as a press secretary to the mayor of Jacksonville and later as special projects director for the Jacksonville Super Bowl. In those roles, she led major public relations and media initiatives to help elevate the city's image ahead of Super Bowl 39. We're very fortunate to have her leading our session today. So, Heather, I'll turn it over to you, and everybody, please give her a warm welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Amanda, and hello to everybody. It is nice to be here with you on a Tuesday morning. Thank you for the applause. I should add to my bio that that's Jacksonville, Florida. I just realizing now as I hear Amanda reading it that I don't say specifically that it's Florida, and there's more than one Jacksonville out there. So this is the one that is right across the border from Georgia. And so, again, thank you for the applause. And I want to encourage all of you to be familiar with those reactions because there will be some times throughout our webinar this afternoon or this morning. I guess I'll call it this afternoon. It's noon, our time anyway, where I might be curious to know with either a thumbs up or a hand raised whether you've experienced something similar to what I'm talking about uh, or or whether you're all following me, whether we're all on the same page, anything like that. So we are here today to talk about 21st century leadership. We're going to talk a little bit about what's the same as it has always been for leadership and leadership skills and proficiencies, even now in the 21st century. And we'll talk about what's different. And we'll talk about ways that we can help you enhance your skills and your proficiencies in leadership, what we can do here at the graduate school. So I want to begin by just talking about what you can expect. I basically just outlined it there, but we are going to discuss the new ECQs. We're going to talk about what's evergreen in terms of organization-wide results, strategic planning, the alignment concept, dipping our toe in leadership concepts and conversations, examining some of the things that drive our careers as federal leaders. And then again, like I said, we'll talk about how we can help you do that here at the graduate school. But before we get started, I do want to just take a quick poll from everyone about what you know about the ECQs. So you've got a screen that pops up there. If you can just click either yes or no, whether you are familiar with the new 20 as of 2025 ECQs. And we'll give everyone a moment to answer the poll. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for answering. We'll give another moment just to make sure everyone has had a chance to click either yes or no. It's looking like we've got a majority of you answering no, coming in at 78% are not familiar. All right. I think we can go ahead and call that the answer. Thank you for that. And so you're not alone if you have not had a chance to get familiar with these new ECQs. They just came out in October of 2021. So here's the story. For nearly 2 decades, these executive core qualifications were the way you shaped your leadership career, your federal leadership career. If you were interested in a senior executive service position, or even as you built your career from the ground up, you were always focused on these executive core qualifications. And from or at least for the last 16 years, they have actually been leading change, leading people, being results driven, business acumen, and building coalitions. Now they are what you see in front of you: commitment to the rule of law and the principles of the American founding, driving efficiency, merit and competence, leading people, and achieving results. So these changes reflect the goals of the new administration. Their intent is to emphasize constitutional principles as well as merit and competence as reasons for promoting, for hiring and promoting people, and also to acknowledge what we are all getting our arms around, and that is the increasing importance for leaders to be technologically literate and savvy as well as innovative. There was a time when leaders could say, oh, let's, ask the IT department to deal with whatever technological issue or question, or leveraging new technology we needed to be able to think about. But today, it is so much a foundation for everything we do in all of the agencies that it has become elevated to a point where every leader needs to be able to show proficiency in technological and data literacy. So that is what is baked into these new ECQs. And so when we are talking about building a federal leadership career, we start and end the conversation with these ECQs. How can we take on new positions? How can we show leadership initiative by being able to comply with each of these new ECQs? So we're going to take some time in this webinar to closely examine one of these ECQs that kind of bridges the distance between what used to be and what is now, and that is the one that's called Achieving Results. And you may have noticed that in the graphic we just showed you, underneath each of these new ECQs, you saw 3 of what we call sub-competencies. So every ECQ has a sub-competency that shapes what it is you need to be showing proficiency at. For achieving results, what we are looking for from you is the ability to show an operational mindset, to be innovative, and to show strategic thinking. So we actually have a class called Achieving Organization-Wide Results, and it is aligned specifically with this particular ECQ. And so for this class, for this webinar, I just want to dip our toe into what it is that we talk about in this class as a way of talking about ways to enhance your proficiency or start building your proficiency at these new ECQs. You'll note that in this particular ECQ, Achieving Results, each of these sub-competencies actually has roots in what used to be the proficiencies up until 2025 that you had to show proficiency at. So this marks really more of an evolution of your ability as a federal leader in these current times, but it still really is grounded in being results driven, having business acumen, being able to build coalitions. That was the language of what you used to be having to build your resume around. So it's similar, but again, we're still looking at being able to demonstrate that you are both people and data literate, and that's really what builds in what's evergreen: being people literate, being able to build teams, successful teams, but also show that you are using data and evidence to assess progress, identify gaps, make adjustments that improve overall effectiveness as part of your proficiency at achieving organization-wide results. All right. So within the proficiencies, of course, we've got some things that are still the same. And strategic planning is always going to be part of your life as a leader, federal leader, or not, anywhere you go in the world of being a leader. Being a strong strategic planner is going to be important because you're always going to need to ensure that your organizations, your offices, your departments are both mission and vision aligned. And that is what strategic planning begins and ends with. So, reviewing our terms and reviewing our understanding of the why. Of course, we're always talking about the why. The why for having a strategic plan is to give yourself opportunities to create benchmarks. We can't measure success unless we know where we started and where we're headed. And so these strategic plans that you either create or review in your various positions as a leader will allow you to provide long-term direction and a way to measure that direction. It will help you align your mission, your vision, and your goals and guide all of your resource allocation and again, your decision making. So every good strategic plan, for those of you who have done these before, or those of you who are just on the cusp of being responsible for creating strategic plans, will always be in charge of figuring out what your mission is. The mission is always going to be the why. Why do we exist? What do we do? And why do we exist? And it needs to be kind of slogany. We think about it as bumper sticker statements that explain what your why is. So, for example, the GPO, the Government Printing Office, says that their why is to publish trusted information for the federal government to the American people. The Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, otherwise known as FERC, their why is to assist consumers in obtaining reliable, safe, secure, and economically efficient energy services at a reasonable cost through appropriate regulatory and market means and collaborative efforts. So that's a little bit less bumper stickery. I think that would take the entire front and maybe back of a t-shirt, but that is still their mission statement and still, fair, brief enough to let us know in essence what the why is, why they exist. Equally important to the missions, to the beginning process of a strategic plan, whether you're creating it for the first time or reviewing it, is the vision statement. So the vision is where do we want to end up, and where do we see ourselves? So it's the end page. It's the what comes when we have achieved the goals of our strategic plan. So the General Services Administration, for example, says that they want to, at the end of the story of the GSA, they would like to have provided effective and efficient government for the American people. That's pretty pithy. That's pretty short. The FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, at the end of the story of the FAA, or the end of this vision, they say, we strive to reach the next level of safety and security and to demonstrate global leadership in how we safely integrate new users and technologies into our aviation system. So that's how they view themselves at the end of the day as an organization, an administration that has been able to do that, to consistently have reached for that next level of safety and security, global leadership, and integrating new technologies into the aviation system. All right, I'm going to pause for a moment. Everybody with me on the on mission and vision would love to see some emojis of hands, or not hands up, but thumbs up, or yep, awesome sauce. Good. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it. And for those of you who have lived the life of the Strategic plan, creation, or review. These are all familiar terms. For some of you, you're still considering what they mean to you. I'm going to ask for, you don't have to tell me what it is, but I'm going to just do another check-in. How many of you could actually quote your agency's mission and vision? Are they top of mind for you? Looking for the thumbs up if they are, and the thumbs up if they're not. Thumbs up if that's something that is part of your daily life and you know exactly what your agency mission is. Couple folks who are thinking to themselves, oh, you know what? Maybe I don't know what my agency mission and vision are. I'm with you. I know, because it's not necessarily top of mind. I think we go about our daily lives knowing what our job is, knowing what we're generally aiming for, but what exactly does that map to? What exactly does that align with in terms of what our overall agency mission and vision are? Sometimes we can lose track of that. The goal, ultimately, when you're creating a strategic plan, is to get your arms around those missions and visions and ensure that all of the departments within your purvey understand how they can work together for those results. And it's that working together that is where you, as a leader, start providing your worth. That's what you get to do because you're no longer in the nuts and bolts of what's going on. You are providing that overall vision, that overall ability to say, hey, listen, this is the job we're doing, every single day. Here's the grind, but here's how it looks at the upper level. Here's how we are contributing to what we stand for and why we exist. You're the one who's providing that direction, helping the goal setting, the resource alignment, and reminding everybody this is how we work as a team and this is why we work as a team. Always thinking about the public value of what you do. We exist for public service in the federal government, accountability, and your service outcomes. So, in order to make all of that happen, what we think about regularly at this level is the what we call the alignment concept, which means that you are waking up every day thinking about how is it that what we do every day connects to the why. That why do we exist? You are always guiding people as a 21st century leader to remember how they are contributing directly to what your mission is, making sure that everyone is working in concert with each other rather than tripping over each other's feet and not necessarily knowing how one piece of one person's job fits into another and you're working as a team or playing, we like to say playing on the same sheet of music, but not necessarily all playing the same instrument, right? It's a lot more interesting if we have all instruments playing one beautiful piece of music in harmony rather than, 7,500 flutes. Not to say that flute's not a beautiful thing. My daughter plays the flute. We love the flute, but we like other instruments as well. Ultimately, that strengthens your overall effectiveness as an agency, an organization, an office, which ultimately can strengthen your own accountability. And in the end, it is all about being accountable to yourselves and also to the public that the government serves. So we talk about aligning your goals, being able to make sure that you are aligned both with each other and with your strategic plan. And what that means at the leadership level is regularly reviewing those strategic plans that you either were part of creating or you inherited as you came into your leadership position and figuring out through this concept of alignment what parts your team supports. What of the strategic goal is directly within your purvey? What is the part that you're working with, but not necessarily directly supporting? And also within the bigger picture, figuring out whether there are gaps. Uh, Certainly now, as we consider the period of dynamic change we have gone through, there could be opportunities for realigning the jobs that people do, realigning the strategic goals with the mission and vision and the things that people are doing day to day in order to meet the mission and vision and goals. You're always ensuring that you know how to translate those broad strategies into your specific objectives. What is it that we are looking to do today, this month, this quarter, this year, in order to constantly stay aligned with the strategic goals we set and also the overall objectives and missions of working for the federal government. Some of that is really in the weeds. You're developing KPIs, key performance indicators that help you measure your performance. And some of it is being a good communicator. Some of it is just ensuring that you are talking more than you ever thought you needed to, using all of the available channels to ensure that everyone knows what everyone else is doing and how you can work together and how you can ensure, again, that you're all playing from the same sheet of music, but doing so in harmony rather than tripping over each other. Reviewing and adjusting at least annually, if not more, is one of the key ways to ensure that you are aligned, that you are avoiding silos, and everyone is reaching the goals together. So, we talk about that alignment, we talk about that constant communication, ensuring that people within your team are all aware of what the other is doing and how we can work together to reach these goals. But we also take a moment to acknowledge that as leaders, we are also coordinating across units. And so that means sharing with other leaders and staying in contact with other leaders, which seems obvious, right? Like, of course, we're going to stay in contact at a horizontal level across divisions. But thinking about how your communication style meshes with someone else's communication style requires some intentionality as well. You're thinking about what are the ways that we can best make sure that we're coordinated by looking at calendars, having regular review meetings, integrating our data dashboards, making sure that we are all leveraging technology in the same way in order to provide the data that allows us to be efficient and effective. You will be modeling collaboration by communicating the big picture not only horizontally with all of your other division leaders, but then bringing that message back to your own department as well, saying, listen, just so that everyone is aware of the big picture, here's what we're doing, here's how it fits in with what everyone else is doing. And again, providing that constant communication that allows you to be an accessible leader as well as a strategic leader. So these are just little snippets of the kinds of things that we get a chance to talk about as we consider enhancing skills, building our awareness of what makes us proficient at all of the ECQs that I was just talking about. Uh, and then focused on specifically that one, achieving results, that we just had a little mini lesson in what it is that we would talk about as we become aligned with that new ECQ of achieving results. So I want to pause here for a moment because as we talk about digging in, enhancing our skills. If you are already building a leadership career, or if you're just at the beginning of designing a leadership career, I want to talk about ways that we here at the graduate school can help you in a meaningful way, building on what it is that we just did here in that short lesson on achieving organization-wide results. And I want to ask all of you now whether you've had a chance to take any of our leadership classes at the graduate school. So I'll pause a moment, just like our previous poll, ask you to say a yes or a no. Go ahead and click yes or no. We can get a sense of where all of you are in classwork, maybe not necessarily in your careers. We'll give everyone a moment to answer the yes or no. And when we get a chance, if we can pop up the results on the screen so I can start seeing what they look like. There we go. Thank you. All right, so 71% of you have not yet taken a leadership course at the graduate school, and 29% of you have. Okay. All right, great. Good. I love to see both of those numbers because I love the opportunity to greet those of you who've been with us before. Welcome back. We're glad to have you back again. And those of you who have not yet dipped a toe into our leadership offerings, I'm excited to tell you the different kinds of availabilities we have to help you start or enhance those leadership careers you're building. So specifically today, I want to talk about our certificate programs. We have at the Center for Leadership and Management, we have a large offering of classes. And one of the sections of offerings we have is the certificate programs that we have in three different streams. We have emerging leader certificate programs. We also have new and current leader certificate programs, and then we have the experienced leader certificate program. So these are week-long series of courses that are mapped to each of these areas of where you are in your career right now. So if you are an emerging leader, this is who you are. You're proactive. You know that this is the kind of personality you have. These are the career goals you have, that you would very much like to be someone who is a leader and in a leadership position. And this series is a great place for you to start because it gives you an opportunity to take a series of classes, each of which is aligned with those new ECQs that I was talking about at the beginning of our webinar, and start really building on the information that allows you to think more closely about what it takes to be proficient in and start actually building on those skills in the ECQs. These people who are the perfect student for these classes are not only those proactive people that I've talked about before, but maybe there's somebody who has already been tapped by one of their own managers to say, hey, I really think that this is a good way for you to start building your career. We think you can make an impact in your agency if you start looking in this direction, start building a foundation toward your leadership goals. So this means you're in the early to mid stages of your career, of your federal career. The new and current leader series of courses is somebody who is actually already in a position of authority. Maybe you already have some responsibility, some influence in your department, and this would be a great next step for you in your leadership development. We've got coursework that's designed to enhance skills you've already started to build, help you take bigger steps in being someone who could be a decision maker, excuse me, for operations, policies, programs. What that means is that you have been, or maybe you are now, a supervisor, a project manager, maybe you're in a team lead role. You haven't been for a long time, about 5 years or less, but you are ready to get yourself in a position where you can build on that and start getting even higher levels of responsibility and management. The experienced leader will give you even more in terms of increasing, enhancing those skills, again, continuing to be aligned with the ECQs. When you are looking at the experienced leader series, it means that you are a manager or you're in a manager position. You're ready to strengthen and develop those capabilities. Setting long-term goals, you're really going to be firmly in the position of setting strategic goals, mission-aligned planning, being in a place to review those strategic plans, even if you've inherited a job where those strategic plans were already in place, making sure that you are in a position to review those and reset them and realign as needed. So I want to give you a better picture of what that looks like for each of these streams. We've got this chart here that shows you for each of the ECQs how we can provide coursework that aligns with each of these ECQs. So the emerging leader will have a 5-day course of classes, each of them having to do with change management, relationship building, results-driven culture, um, managing your organizations, and again, more building of coalitions and teamwork. And we enhance those classes for the more experienced leader there. Again, we continually talking about change management, talking about connections to the constitutional underpinnings of our country in these classes as well, building teams, leading others, making sure that you are being able to apply management skills, and being able to be an influential leader. And then finally, you can see in our last stream of classes, again, building on those same basic concepts, but with higher level coursework, more, more in the weeds, so to speak, for the kinds of responsibilities and roles you will have at the experienced level leader. And you will see that for each of these series of classes, again, we've got one class for each of these series that lasts 2 days. Every other class is a 1-day class. And you get a chance to do this if you were choosing any one of these streams. We give you a couple different ways to be able to take those classes, depending on your schedule and your timing. We're always working very hard to ensure that we recognize as busy people, maybe you've got the time that you could take 5 days of training in a row, maybe you don't. And so we give you the opportunity to have a cohort experience. You could do it in sequence, like we were just showing you there with just boom, 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 5 days in a row. Or we recognize that not everybody has the opportunity to schedule their time that way, which means you don't necessarily have to take all those classes in the order we just showed you. You could enter any cohort at any time. You may end up being with a different group of people than you were with the other classes you took, but you're still getting the material. You're still getting the content. You're still working your way toward earning that certificate. We also offer you the opportunity to take any of these classes through open enrollment as well. And that would just be if you can only take one class, every now and then. A lot of students really do like that cohort opportunity. If you take each of those classes all within 1 week, then you're literally on the same team. You get a chance to be with the same people all week long. It's a great networking experience. It's a great community building experience. People feel as though they've made good friends and good contacts by the end of the week. But again, that's not necessary for earning the certificate. And those certificates are a fantastic way to build your resume. You put them on your LinkedIn profile. You have the badge, the Credly badge that we give you at the end that you can put in your signature block. And that just tells people that you have been investing in your own trajectory, your own career trajectory, and your own knowledge, your own abilities, skills, proficiencies. So I am going to open this up to Q&A in a moment, but I do want to answer some of our more frequently asked questions. And that is, again, I just was chatting about this, but I want to reiterate the fact that the series program, I'm just going to put on my glasses to make sure I can read my numbers correctly. This tells you how old my eyes are. Um, these certificate programs are this series of 1 and 2 day courses. Again, ultimately earning you a certificate, a leadership certificate. The costs are here on the screen. You'll see that we've broken them down into one bulk cost for all 5 certificate or 5 series classes altogether. You can also do them one at a time. And then we have the 1 2 day class, which has its own price as well. Again, noting this is a certificate program, you will get a certification for having completed whatever series you're in, whether it's the emerging or the new or the experienced leader. You also get a Credly badge, which is a digital badge. So it's digital. You can put it on your signature block. You can put it in your LinkedIn profile. Again, it's a visual way to show everyone that you are investing in your own career. You are investing in yourself as a leader and as a public servant. These programs are ideal for people who just want to be better at what you do. And with that, I think that we have reached the end. Yeah, that was the top of our of another one of our classes. So I will end with that and open up to Q&A. And I see that we have a question about getting information about the emerging leader programs. So we are going to share a link with you at the very end where you will be able to see all of the classes we offer at the Center for Leadership and Management, including that entire series of classes that goes with the Experienced Leader stream. And we also have that link at the bottom of this screen, but that's I don't think you can actually see the link, but we will be sharing that in the chat as well. I believe that's where we will be sharing that. Do we have grants for veterans for these courses? That's an excellent question, and I do not have the answer for it. Amanda Schaefer, are you able to help me field that question about grants for veterans?
Oh, it wouldn't let me. There we go. I'm here.
Thank you.
So we can ask, I'm unaware of that answer actually, just because I'm not part of that area within graduate school, but we can absolutely follow up based on if there are grants for veterans based on these courses.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm sorry that I do that. I believe that may be the first time I've ever received that question. So I'm interested in the answer too. We can follow up with you, I guess, to get you the answer. What would be the best way to follow up on that, Amanda?
I would say email. So if you could provide your email, we can have our support team follow up based on that answer so that we can get 100% confirmation on that.
Terrific. Thank you. I appreciate that, and I appreciate your patience with us as
Yeah.
we hunt that answer down. All right, and just want to point out to everybody that in that Q&A chat, you've got the link that Amanda put that will take you straight to the Center for Leadership and Management, where you can explore all of our different course opportunities, in particular these series that we've just been talking about now. And I'm keeping my eye on the Q&A right now. We've got just about 5 minutes, 6 minutes left. And I will tell you that one of the opportunities, I know a lot of people have asked about whether there are classes that dig into change management, which of course is something that we have been talking a lot about in federal government these days. And the that is clearly something that is top of mind for everyone who is in a leadership position now or is aspiring to be in a leadership position now. And so we have worked hard to ensure that all of our change management classes are up to date, and again, always aligned with these ECQs. Interestingly, change management is one that's actually aligned with multiple ECQs, with driving efficiency, with achieving results, with merit and competence, and also with leading people. There are elements of change management that touch on all of those sub-competencies, and that is one of the courses, or that is for most of those series, that's actually a course that begins all of them. In fact, I'll take a moment just to go back to our series here to note that with each of these streams, we begin with change. The emerging leaders just talk about, in general, what it looks like when we are experiencing change and how that works across the board. With the new and current leader, we start getting into more detail about how you, as a leader, would be someone who understands the elements of the change that are going to affect your team and implement it. We start talking very specifically about the process for developing changes and then implementing them, not just operationally, but also emotionally. It changes an emotional experience as well as an operational experience. And we begin working with leaders on what that means for you as someone who is, sort of bridging the two roles, as someone who's experiencing it as an employee and also as a team leader. And then we really get into those details for leading strategic change in the Experienced Leader Program series. The leading strategic change at that experienced leader means that we're talking about how you start developing plans for communicating it to stakeholders across the board, for communicating to people who will help you be a champion for change as you're implementing. Especially the bigger the change gets, the harder it is to ensure that all stakeholders are bought in and being part of the change. Change is hard. I don't think there's anyone on the call today probably who hasn't experienced some level of organizational change in the last year. So we can all recognize that that a skillful management of change is a true proficiency that is worthy of developing as you grow your leadership career, and certainly worthy of being able to have on your ultimate resume as a leader. Another one of the classes that we frequently get asked about has to do with how do we start dealing with the layering in of data literacy as the hallmark of a good leader. As I noted at the beginning of this webinar, we're not too far away from the days where we could always just say, oh, we've got some sort of a tech problem, we'll let IT deal with it. And I think we still can do that. I know I do. But as leaders, we are expected to be able to demonstrate a much higher level of data literacy than ever before, and to be able to innovate using technology, leveraging technology. And so, acknowledging that evolution in our needs as leaders, we've baked in classes on being technologically savvy. So you'll note that for each of these streams, again, with emerging, and then new and current, and then experienced leaders, we have classes on, in particular, this one here, managing money, people, and technology, with the Experienced Leader series. That's a brand new updated course. We just realigned that course with the driving results, the achieving results ECQ, and we spend a lot of time there and on other similar classes in the other series talking about what does it take to identify new technology? What does it take to be able to separate the hype from what would really be mission aligned in terms of implementing new technology? We know that it is the hot thing to be able to be savvy about today, and vendors know that. Vendors are always coming up with the latest and greatest new technology that it's going to be so amazing and you got to have it. And as leaders, We have to be able to say, okay, this really does look exciting and new and different. And I always want to be that leader who saw far into the future and said, hey, we need this technology. This can really be great for us to layer into to how we do our jobs. And what we like to do in our courses is help you do that and be able to have that as an accomplishment, but also approach the process of implementing, identifying, and implementing new technology in a measured way. So, how do we make sure as leaders that we can answer the any problems we're having? How can we align new technology with answering a question that we've had or a problem that we've got in our operations? How can we ensure that new technology is mission aligned? Answering all those questions intentionally and in a measured way, and then getting to the point where we can say, okay, yeah, the hype surrounding this new technology appears to be real. Let's do a pilot. All of these are processes in your role as a leader, being innovative, leveraging new technologies that we talk about in a really process-oriented way in these classes in order to provide you with immediately applicable skills that you can take back to the job and see that growth in your own leadership capabilities right away. You can see I get a little excited when we talk about that one because I will acknowledge to you, I feel like I'm constantly trying to keep up with the latest in technology. And so I love the opportunity to create content for other leaders that helps all of us make sure that we're staying just a little bit ahead of the game in order to ensure that our own offices and departments and teams are reflecting the most cutting edge technology and staying mission aligned, remaining true to our missions, but also remaining true to our customers, our clients, which of course are taxpayers, and each other. So I'll pause for a moment on that and just double check here in the Q&A to see if we have any questions from any of you. And I think we have done a good job in answering some questions. And I'll just note that Amanda has put into the chat the takeaway that we provided for all of you for this class. We have a little handout for you. So that just gives you an opportunity to reflect on some of the things we talked about today and actually truly reflect, because I baked in some reflection questions for you to help you think about where are some areas that you might find interesting to think a little bit more about. As you consider which of our certificate programs might be a good fit for you and where you'd like to develop and where you'd like to start showing some proficiency in these ECQs. And I think I might be over time. I'm looking at my clock. Amanda, where am I on time? Did I just talk too much and
Yeah.
I need to let everybody go?
You're good. You're good. We're good to go if you are. It's up to you.
Okay. Yeah, I think I am. I appreciate having you all here with me today. Thank you again for spending this lovely Tuesday morning with me, talking about a little bit about leadership and some of the skills that you are developing and enhancing. Wishing all of you the best of luck as you continue to build your own leadership careers. I thank you all for your service to the United States government, and I really hope to see you in class. So take care, everybody.